Welcome to CryptoRed, the channel for crypto news. Today we're going to talk about the European Union wanting to scan all private messages, whether it's WhatsApp, Signal or others. We're also going to talk about the SEC. We'll talk about companies that continue to buy cryptocurrencies massively, whether it's Ether, BNB or even Bitcoin. And we'll also cover many other things. We're going to revisit the blockchain that experienced a halt base. We know now the reason for that stoppage, and we'll discuss the technical causes. Let's begin with the cryptocurrency prices. Bitcoin at $114,000, Ethereum around $3,600, XRP down 3% below $3. I also wanted to talk about Hyperliquid with insights from the specialist at VanEck, who explained that the rise in Hyperliquid's revenue and the recent hype surrounding it is happening at the expense of Solana. I've already introduced you to Hyperliquid. It's a platform originally designed for trading and especially for perpetual contracts with leverage. Well, it's growing rapidly. They now also offer an EVM, a spot market, staking, and several other features. According to VanEck, Solana is the one losing market share here. And I understand why. I've already said it. I see Solana as a direct competitor to Hyperliquid, especially in the decentralized Nasdaq aspect. That's how Solana has been presenting itself lately. I also think that Hyperliquid is going to continue taking more and more market share because its end user oriented product is much better than all the existing apps in Solana. Now, I'm not worried per se regarding Solana. They have many other use cases like what we've seen recently with meme coins. But the real question is, will all this last? What if the whole meme coin sector transition to Hyperliquid? That will be very concerning for Solana. They really need to find the right positioning. Solana has an interesting scaling vision. They want to improve the performance of the Solana network by focusing on the main chain rather than layer 2s. They're exploring this model, which is quite different from the Ethereum approach, but it's still unclear where exactly they want to position themselves. If it's about trading, Hyperliquid is already taken over. If it's about smart contracts and beyond, they shouldn't let Ethereum and L2 surpass them. So it's a complicated period for Solana. They must find their place and define their unique value proposition compared to other blockchains. As for Hyperliquid, its token price has surged significantly in recent months. Next, we're going to talk about the companies that continue to buy cryptocurrencies massively. Let's start with CEA Industries. The company that had announced its intention to raise money to buy BNB has now succeeded in raising $500 million to purchase BNB. And the main investor is YZ Labs, formerly Binance Labs, which is the fund of CZ, the founder of Binance. So congratulations, they managed to raise $500 million. It's rare to see a company raising $500 million specifically to buy crypto and BNB. We know that BNB is backed by Binance. Ultimately, it's Binance that owns the majority of BNB tokens. They have a vested interest in making sure BNB performs well. This kind of move also helps attract new investors, potentially even people from Wall Street or other traditional markets, to invest in BNB. That's how it's being perceived, and it reflects the current trend for treasury companies to buy a lot of crypto. Another company that has just raised money, this time to buy BTC, is Satsuma. They successfully raised $210 million. I want to emphasize the difference between announcement of fundraising and actual completed fundraising. There was a company I previously talked about that had announced a plan to raise $1 billion, but it was just a small coffee chain in Spain with a market cap of under $10 million. They were never going to pull that off. But here, we're talking about a company that has actually raised $210 million. Satsuma is based in the United Kingdom, and they plan to buy BTC with that money. Notably, Kraken has invested in this project. Another company, Sharpling Gaming, just bought more than $300 million worth of ETH. They now hold more than 500,000 ETH. I'll bring up, you can see this on the website Strategic ETH Reserve. It's pretty incredible. At the top is Bitmine with $3 billion. Second place is Sharpling Gaming with almost $2 billion. And third place is the Ether Machine. And it's still going. It's not stopping anytime soon. I recently saw another interview with the CEO of Bitmine, and they're targeting $20 billion invested in ETH. That would represent 5% of the ETH total supply. what they're doing is pretty insane, and in my opinion, it contributes to the bullish momentum of Ethereum. I've also explained in details that BTC is in a category of its own because so many institutional investors are now buying it, but we're starting to observe the same phenomenon with ETH. And more importantly, we're seeing diversification among companies, not just these three large players, but many other players. I don't think we're there just yet, but the question remains, will governments eventually start buying ETH? In my opinion, we're not there yet at all. It's more likely to happen with BTC first, but still, seeing this kind of buying pressure on it is extremely bullish. Next, let's talk about Lido and some good news for Lido and the entire liquid staking sector. The SEC, the US Financial Markets Authority, has just stated that the liquid staking is not considered a security. This is very good news. Liquid staking is when you have a token like STETH, which allows you to generate yield in an extremely simple way. You just keep it in your wallet and every day receive more ETH. And now, this is not considered a security. This clarification removes a lot of legal uncertainty. It also means we'll finally have more regulatory clarity and can expect further development of such product in the US. Very good news for Lido, which will now be able to continue forming partnership with many companies. Recently, they announced a partnership with Sharpling Gaming. They will use Lido's technology to automatically stake ETH on the Linea blockchain using Lido V3. So this is really good news for Lido, Rocket Pool, and the various liquid staking protocols. Liquid staking remains one of the simplest options for those who want to make their crypto asset grow. If you have ETH or other cryptocurrencies like Solana, you can use this method to generate yield really easily. Next, let's talk about the European Union. Look at this article I came across. Chat control. Europe is about to scan all your private messages starting in October. It's based on the article from Clubic, which explains all of this. Basically, there are an ongoing project within the European Union to implement automatic scanning of various messages on all messaging apps, even those with end-to-end encryption, such as WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. Because WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram, and all the other end-to-end encrypted can't be broken. Well, they want to simply install a filter on the device, on the application themselves. That means all apps will have some kind of backdoor. In the end, it's an automatic control of various messages and images that are going to be sent. It will be done directly on your device before being transmitted. And for example, we can imagine that's how they present it, that it's to fight child pornography content. Apple had at one point wanted to do the same thing, and they stopped simply because of the backlash they received. Now, unfortunately, many countries in Europe support this. Look, in red, we have all the countries that are currently in favor: Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Denmark. I believe they were actually at the origin of this. Some countries have not yet decided, such as Germany, Belgium, Czech Republic, and Romania. But now, the whole debate is, will it pass or not? For me, it's a very bad idea. From a privacy point of view, we can already imagine all the potential abuses. What will they say? What will they start by blocking? They can block certain messages, then they can add keywords, then they can say, well, once a message is flagged, once it's detected, it's automatically sent to a server, an interception server controlled by who knows who. And above all, it could be exploited by hackers. Imagine if there's a security flaw in the solution implemented to scan messages. We can imagine hackers exploiting that flow to access your messages, your WhatsApps. So really, it's something that worries me. It's really the big brother version of the world we're starting to see, where they want to scan everything before they're even sent. The example they gave, imagine if before sending a letter, it was scanned at your home by the postal service, opening your documents and seeing what's inside. Well, that's exactly what they're trying to do. So I'm really worried about this. And also the trend about the different KYC provider all over the place with data leaking and spreading everywhere. It's extremely dangerous. So yes, it really scares me, and we're starting to see within the European Union this kind of behavior. In the UK also, the UK has implemented similar things. I really think regarding the KYC, I really think people need to say this is not okay, that they don't agree with this, that they speak up. I don't know how it play out. I don't think we'll get to the point of protest just yet, unfortunately, but people really need to say this is not normal. We're pushing surveillance to an extreme level, and this has to be stopped quickly. So I really wanted to alert you about this topic because honestly it worries me, and I hope that companies like WhatsApp, Meta say we'd rather leave the European Union than to stay with this kind of surveillance mechanism. So yeah, well, let's move on and talk about crypto. I wanted to talk about Base. I told you about the Base blockchain that was down for half an hour. It happened on Monday. We now have the details, the post-mortem of that issue. It actually happened. They say it lasted 33 minutes. It was indeed the sequencer that was causing the problem. The different L2s, they have a centralized sequencer, and they had the issue with the high availability cluster of sequences they had. So different sequencer would fail over, but there was an issue in the switching of the sequencer. So they switched to a sequencer that hadn't finished initializing, and in the end, that's what caused the bug. So to fix all of this, they disabled the automatic sequencer failover system. They launched a single sequencer. They switched over to that, and it went smoothly. They said they put measures in place to ensure that this thing doesn't happen again. But personally, I would have liked to hear, we're testing a decentralized sequencer system to have several different entities around the world running this type of infrastructure to avoid a single point of failure. But that's not at all the conclusion they reach. As I said, unfortunately, this kind of companies don't prioritize the decentralization of the sequencer. Next, Pump.Fun is in competition with Let's Bank. I've already said this. Pump.Fun, the platform for launching meme coins on Solana, was the clear leader for a long time. It got overtaken by Let's Bank, and in the past 24 hours, Let's Bank, he's in the second place, while Pump.Fun regained the first place, but it's only temporary, I believe. And Pump.Fun is really down 96% from its peak. So yeah, I believe they lost the trust of the users doing this ICO, the $700 million ICO. They could have done a big airdrop. They chose not to do it, and I believe it's a bad choice that they did. So yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you today about the various crypto news. I hope you enjoyed the update. If that's the case, don't hesitate to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.